I don't really know how to approach today's broadcast other than with straight up honesty. So that's what I'm going to do. I am literally chilled to the very core and disturbed, quite frankly, by the results of the election last night in New York, New Jersey, and Virginia. I mean, they're chilling to the core, especially when you consider the candidates that were A, put forward by Democrats, and B, now they have officially been elected into office. It really tells you the truth about the direction of the Democrat Party and where they're headed. And quite frankly, I understand that these are all very heavy Democrat areas. They kind of lean to the Democrat favor, but these still are warning signs for Republicans in the midterms. I would have loved to take one of those more dominant places. I know Republicans won some stuff, maybe the smaller end stuff, but not the major stuff that we were looking at. But I do believe that I'm not the only one rather disturbed by this. Donald Trump even sent on his Truth Social page a 4-word cryptic post. I believed it was aimed at his base, and I believe he has some fears about our future as well. Just one of the reasons why Donald Trump is literally preparing the National Guard. I've done multiple reports on this in the event of some kind of civil disturbance in the United States of America. There's a lot going on, folks. And quite frankly, I'm worried about the midterm election. I'm worried the Democrats could take it. I'm worried about the candidates that they're now putting in place. And that's my biggest fear. And to top it all off, here's the other thing that worries me. Republicans, for the most part, they're just being honest, right, about who they are, about what they're going to offer. The Democrats are out there lying about Republicans, saying we're racist, we're homophobic, and xenophobic. And once you say a lie long enough, people start to believe it. And I think they're at that point. Not only that, but the other thing is these Democrat candidates keep offering free stuff after free stuff after free stuff. How do Republicans compete with that? When what the Democrats are offering, maybe they won't be able to offer it, but they're offering all this free stuff. How do we compete with that in the midterms when people are hurting and the whole 9 yards? I've got a lot to share with you. Let's start first with this. And this is probably the most concerning part of this report, the fact that Jay Jones won there in Virginia. The Decision Desk headquarter post that Virginia Attorney General, he is now the winner, I believe, or projected winner, Jay Jones. Jay Jones won, despite the fact that he sent a text message about killing one of his political opponents. I mean, let me show you these text messages. I've said them before. They're very traumatizing. But here's his text messages. They are disturbing to the very core. Basically, I'm going to summarize this part. He brings up Gilbert right here in this section. And this is Jay Jones. This is his text message in the gray. He brings up Gilbert, and the other guy's like, all right, but here's the second one, right? You move on a little bit, and Jay talks about pissing in funerals and pissing on people's graves in funerals. And the other guy's like, Jay, Jay Jones, behave, And then Jay goes on to say 3 people, and I've got 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. I got 2 bullets, 3 people. And he goes, Gilbert gets 2 to the head, and basically Hitler and Pol Pot get out scot-free. We're talking about a former Virginia GOP speaker. And he goes, spoiler, put Bill Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people, and he receives both bullets every time. In other words, Gilbert is the worst person on the planet. And the other guy's like, stop it. It bothers me when you talk about wishing death on people. No joke. I'm kind of with the guy on that. That's a little extreme. And then he goes out to call him out, this guy in the blue. He says, you weren't simply asking questions. He says, I wasn't attacking you. I was trying to understand your luck. And he goes, no, you weren't. You weren't trying to understand it. And this is concerning right here. He says, you were talking about hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. Yeah, he says, Jay Jones, only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy. In other words, if there's not the pain of murder or whatever, then they're not going to move on policy. And it concludes, I asked you point blank, you dug in, blah, blah, blah. And Jay concludes with this. I mean, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding little fascists? Yes, I do. That's who got elected in Virginia. That's sick. What does that tell you about the future of the Democrat Party and who they're after? That's insane. By the way, If you want to get into the nitty gritty, sign up today for restrictedrepublic.com. Justice Knight put out an extended report on there. You guys are going to want to see it because we don't say everything here on YouTube. As you know, we've been suppressed to oblivion. That's why I migrated there with Justice Knight. Use the coupon code Lisa at number 5. Get it for $5 per month. I really hope to see you there. We've got exclusive content, extended content. This is the extended version Justice Knight just put up. I'm going to be putting some massive reports up there on Thursday and on Friday. You're not going to want, on Thursday and on Friday, you're not going to want to miss them, but sign up for Restricted if you really want to get in the nitty gritty and support what we do here. Sign up right now, hit that pause and go to Restricted Republic and do that. But with that, there's other Democrats that took the lead there in Virginia. We have Abigail Spangler. And this is concerning, right? Because the left is always like, hey, we need to get more black people in. And Winsome Sears, who was running for the Republican office, she is black. But yet they go against their own thing and they vote in Abigail Spangler, a white girl, which should concern you, especially when Democrats are like race, and race is at the top of everything. Then we also have Ghazala Hashimi, and I probably butchered her name, but she is the Virginia Lieutenant Governor, and she took as a Democrat as well. So Democrats, basically, for the most part, in the positions that counted, swept the bigger places there in Virginia. Not only that, but this is also concerning. I've been worried about New York, but this I think could work in our favor because I think it's going to blow up on them. But New York has elected Zohran Mamdani. He is a straight up socialist communist. I've shared this before. I'm not going to get into all of it again because most of you already know he wants to freeze the rent. He wants to bring affordable housing. Basically, renters who are renting in New York, you've got little to no chance. I hope you exit New York because you're in a whole lot of trouble. And then he gets into city-owned grocery stores. So if you own a grocery store in New York, you're probably going to want to leave free everything, free fare, free buses. And I believe this is why he won. He's offering all this free stuff, free childcare, free, healthier LGBTQ protections, whatever. I could care. And raising the minimum wage to $30 by 2030. That should be really interesting because that's going to usher in socialism like no tomorrow. Oh, and hey, and then right at the bottom, he's going to Trump-proof New York City. So there's his platform. And I believe many people in New York were turned on by free. Look, Republicans aren't offering free stuff because stuff shouldn't be given out for free. When you give free stuff to people, they mistreat it. Take a teenager, for example. You buy him a car, a 16-year-old, they get those wheels. They're not going to take care of that car as much. If they buy their own car, they're going to take care of that car a lot more than if I buy them a car and give it to them, right? This is the same thing with socialism. If it's free, eventually, I'm going to get pissed off because I'm working and all my stuff is going to Joe Schmo over here and they're doing nothing but sitting at home. Well, I'm going to eventually stop working because why don't I just take the free stuff? And everybody becomes super poor. That is what Mamdani brings to the table. It's chilling. And by the way, he's been seen smiling arm in arm with an unindicted World Trade Center bombing co-conspirator and apologist. And you could see, here's the picture right here. Interesting, to say the least. That guy terrifies me to the core. The fact that he got elected on socialism and communism, again, tells you everything you need to know about the Democrats. They are electing people who have advocated for violence. They are electing people who are straight up socialist. The Democrats are no more, folks. They're gone. And here's some more. Over in New Jersey, the Democrats won there as well. Mike Sherrill took over from Jack there, winning the race there as well. And then California, voters passed Prop 50 to redraw the state's congressional map. That's no surprise to me. I figured they would pass that considering it's California. But here's the deal. Right after the California Prop 50 got announced that it passed, and after pretty much somewhat of a Democrat sweep, Donald Trump posted a rather cryptic 4-word warning. And I believe it was towards Republicans and his base. And here's what he put on Truth Social. And so it begins. And you can see it right here. And so it begins, right? And this tweet actually followed another tweet in which Donald Trump talked about voter reform. And here it is. This was an hour prior to the "So It Begins" tweet, right? Pass voter reform, voter ID, no mail-in ballots, save our Supreme Court from packing, no two-state addition, terminate the filibuster. Donald Trump knows we're in for a whole lot of trouble if certain things aren't fixed. And we need voter reform badly. We need voter ID badly. And I don't know why you can't drive a car without an ID. We can't drive a car without an ID, but we can vote without an ID. It makes no sense. No sense at all. I'm a big advocate on voter ID. And if we don't get that fixed, we're doomed. But right now, his cryptic tweet is where we're at. And so it begins. And yeah, it does begin. It does. What does that mean? Well, I'll ultimately leave that up for you to decide. But we're sure the hell at the beginning of something, right? In fact, you don't have to look very far than the Democrats' own sources to see exactly what they're talking about. Let me show you something else that a lot of people in the media miss. This is on the New York Times. The backlash has arrived. 6 takeaways from a good night for Democrats in Virginia, New Jersey, and beyond. Democrat voters powered their candidates to victory and sent a warning sign to Trump and his Republican Party. This is what the New York Times put out. We're warning you, we're winning, we're going to take it all back. And they might, because like I said, we're going to have a hard time competing against everything's for free and the other side is racist, right? They're starting to believe what they're saying. And here's the vilest part of the New York Times Post. Even the Democrats will shrug at a scandal. Now, this part, I got to give just a statement before I say it. It's regarding Jay Jones, the candidate, right, that has just been elected. The first one I showed you right here as Attorney General in Virginia. This is the one that they are referencing, the one that literally talked about killing a former Virginia GOP speaker and then the kids, right? And the stuff what he said about the kids. Here's what they say about Jay. This is disturbing. In the final weeks of Virginia's campaign for Attorney General, it was revealed that Jay Jones, the Democrat nominee, had sent violent text messages. Here's where they water it down. About a political rival that had been caught driving 116 miles per hour. In other words, the way I read this is he was justified to send the violent text messages about calling his kids fascists and for the death of the Gilberts, because they once drove, or one of the family members once drove 116 miles per hour. Legitimately. That's what they've done, folks. This is sick. There should be no compromise on violence. But no prominent Virginia Democrat, none of them called for him to quit the race. Mr. Jones, well, he apologized, withstood a torrent attack and the attack ads, and rode huge Democratic turnout to victory. He withstood torrent attack ads. He deserved those attack ads. He literally called for somebody's murder. I'd go back to the text messages, but they are just disgusting. Again, think about who the Democrats are electing in. Hoping someone's children would die and hoping for the death of the Gilberts. And they're going to downplay it at the New York Times and say, he withstood attacks. And they went, one of them went once 116 miles per hour driving. Here's this as well. It seems like the Democrats can't get enough of this now. Here we have Fox News. Unhinged voicemail exposes left-wing candidates' death threats against GOP senators. Wow, this is another one. Unhinged and raging death threats against a GOP senator. Hi, and here's the voicemail that was left. This is literally a voicemail that was left for a GOP senator, and she's threatening them. Hi, this is Haley McKnight. I'm a constituent In Helena, Montana, McKnight started off in her voicemail, a recording of which was obtained and verified by Fox News Digital. I just wanted to let you know that you are the most insufferable kind of coward and thief. You just stripped away the health care for 17 million Americans. Not true. And I hope you're really proud of that. I hope that one day you get pancreatic cancer and it spreads throughout your body so fast that they can't even treat you for it. I hope you die in the streets like a dog, McKnight continued. One day you're going to live to regret this. I hope that your children never forgive you. I hope that you are infertile. I hope that you manage to never get a BO ever again. You are the worst piece of shit I have ever had the misfortune of looking at. God forbid that you ever meet me on the streets, because I will make you regret it. I hope you die. Welcome to the Democrat Party. Let's just hurl death threats against GOP senators because you're upset with policy. Well, I don't like his policy. He deserved it. This is now the face of the Democrat Party, it seems, between Jay Jones and left-wing candidate Haley McKnight. It's like a pattern here, right? There's a pattern. I don't even know what to say. But this is scary. Like I said in the very beginning of this board, is this the Democrat Party? Is this who you're going to be? I mean, we've had all kinds of things said about us. Now they're getting more virulent. I don't see that coming from the Republicans. Like literally. They're out there saying we're fascists, we're Hitler, we're Nazis, we're bad people. We should be marched down in public. I think it was Carville or somebody. We should be put in suits, put in orange suits, shave our heads and be mocked and made fun of. For what? For lies about us being racist, for lies that you tell about us being xenophobic. We're xenophobic because we want to follow the laws in America and only allow legal aliens to come in. I'm all for immigration. This is the great system that we have. We have to have a way for immigrants to get into a country, but not illegally where they're committing crimes. And anyone and everybody could cross the border. Doesn't matter what crimes you've committed. And there's no cap, there's no number, there's no nothing. Just come on in. Oh, and hey, I have a problem when they're not paying into our system and they're receiving all the benefits that Americans can't even get. I have a problem with that. I'm not here to pay for them to get everything for free when I have to work and get my own stuff to pay my own dang bills. And that makes me xenophobic? Go to hell. But this is the kind of lies that they're telling. And again, we're going to have some real problems in the future with this because the Democrats, when you offer a free everything platform, people flock to it like no tomorrow. I think we're really going to have trouble in the midterms. I'd like to hear your opinion and see if I'm wrong. But not only that, I think things are getting real hairy in our country, and I don't like the way it's going. And I'm always against all violence, period. And it seems, unfortunately, that the other side, I don't know where they're headed in the future, but God, I hope that this kind of rage rhetoric stops on that side, on both sides, quite frankly. But I hear way more from the left. Anyhow, I love you all. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.